Okay. All right. Thank you. Before I will be very much interested in hearing your comments because what I wanted to do is, um, again, we do have a library of all our videos. Obviously, you have access to all the slides. Again, that's something that I've been working on. Hopefully, I can get to sit down with my web designer. Unfortunately, he's had such a bad luck with his health. Every time we talk, something has happened to him. So, really like to organize so our website will be designed by subject, so you can look at option strategies or look at the psychology, or you can do the ETFs, or basically as far as the trading and technical analysis. So that's one thing I'm very much interested, but also I would be interested in hearing your comments in regards to, a few years ago, I started writing this book series, and the first one was the commodities in 90 minutes. So I've shared some of those slides and basically what my objective was. And it was a seven um, um, books or booklets. They were about 120 page each. And the idea was that it is something not for a novice investor. It's not considered for like dummies. It's something that people who are active in investing, but they're not novice. They're not, hedge fund managers. They are more of an in between. They're actually doing the trading. So they want some challenge, but they don't want, like uh, as far as complication, Black-Scholes, the formulas, they don't want to. They want to have some applicable, immediate actions planned so they can follow. As I said, I like the bullet points, and my commodities book is like 2 to 4 pages, basically on each commodity. If this, then that. So so I was so the subjects were the options, they were technical analysis, they were on Forex, emerging markets, ETFs, I mentioned the commodities. So basically, and the psychology. So there were the 7 subjects. And one of the things, like the one we just had the preview, that's how it will be obviously more organized, but that's how I wanted to have the booklets be published. So about 120 pages, and basically just have like, um, it's like the bullets, the 7 things, and just if this, then that, and what is, for instance, butterfly. Okay, when do we get in? When do we get out? What profit target? Rather than a 20-page explanation of different things. And I notice I don't put a lot of graphs. Maybe that would be one way. A lot of books do that. So it was aimed at, again, more of a intermediate people who are already doing trading, but they are they really don't need to know the basics. They want to go to the next step. So this I would really much appreciate if I get some feedback, so I can continue, maybe put those booklets together if I know it's useful. And again, this was just a collection of some of the ideas we've gone before, but sometimes we forget. Sometimes there's just like one slide we cannot find. So I thought maybe this would be again, more of a reference guide or a cheat sheet. So with that in mind, I know I put the 30 minutes, but anyway, it's always longer than what I anticipate. Or I should be a fast talker, should be a Tony Robbins or something. But anyway, any comments I welcome, and any questions. So here I am.
Well, Remy, I really love it. Yeah, I think, I think it's should be like an investment dictionary. I can create from all these slides, and every time we met some scenario, I can refer to that page. It's so helpful. I just thinking, what's the best way to organize these slides. I really like the 7 rules. It's very concise, and it helps, to understand the topic and quickly refer to the key points we need to pay attention to. Yeah,
Well,
that's
thank you
very
very
helpful.
much, Sean. Appreciate it. Well, that's nice. So let's see if there's any again, we all have different personalities, different learning styles. So, Sean, you're mathematically oriented like I am. So sometimes maybe we see things very much alike. So I'd like to see any other ideas or opinions. So please.
Ramin, I really enjoyed it. I like how you kind of broke down everything. And like Sean said, the 7 rules, I found it extremely helpful.
Oh, brilliant. Okay. Thank you, Lucas. I think we just have to organize a little more. I'm gonna structure it, but again, this is my plan to have like a book, but not too boring, something that you can, I keep saying 90 minutes, really you can't finish. It's my talking which is taking it too long. Other than that, it's it could be faster probably. If you read it, you will finish it half the time. But anyway, thank you, Lucas. Appreciate it.
I also had a bunch of questions.
Okay. Okay. Well, let me do this. If you don't mind, I'll just hear the comments and then I'll come back to the questions if you don't mind, Lucas.
Okay.
Is that okay? All
Absolutely.
right. Just in case.
I mean,
Jean-Claude, yes,
yeah,
please.
I would agree because these reference guides are great. It's easy and quick to refer back to when you need the information, especially when you're just starting off doing these things. A lot of times you forget a lot of the details, and it's always great to be able to go to some reference guide back and just distill like the most important aspects of the trade, and the 7 rules or whatever, or your little booklets would be very helpful on that.
Okay. Appreciate it, Jean-Claude. Thank you so much. All right. Wow. This is nice. And you guys are biased though, also, I have to admit. So, we should like have it 1,000 people here and then maybe. Thank you so much, Jean-Claude. Any other comments? Anyone? Unfortunately, I think Henry left. And I know his son has practices, so unfortunately we lose Henry on Wednesdays. I would have been interested because Henry just started doing options. And
That's one suggestion if you have in the booklet or in this is to have like a real life example.
Yes, yeah. So in our presentations, I usually do like on our, on classes, we always have an example.
Right.
So yeah, that would be definitely, yes, that would make sense. And maybe combining everything and use the same, underlying stock or ETF. And absolutely, definitely, it makes a lot more sense. Sure. Thank you. Definitely. Bob, do you have any suggestions? What are your thoughts?
I mean, I apologize. I had to field 2 calls during the session
Oh, okay.
there. So I'll talk to you off. You and I can get together maybe for a cup of coffee soon and chat a little bit.
Okay. All right. Thanks, Bob. No problem. Okay. Lucas, go ahead. Ask me the questions.
So my first question was, I personally do the iron condors on SPY. I'm sure me and Martin have been talking about it a lot.
Yes.
I do them Monday mornings, and I do the expiration for the following Friday. So 5 days left to expiration.
Okay.
And I was wondering, what time of the day is the implied volatility the highest? So that time on Monday, I could do the iron condors.
Okay. Well, that's a very good question. So what happens usually at the opening, the implied volatility with all the news have come. So what happens is you see initially what happens is there's just absorbing the news. So you get a lot of filling. So a lot of orders come in. And that's one of the reasons I do not suggest, again, buying or selling. I mean, sometimes you get really good price if you're selling, but buying, because not all the orders have been filled. That's what these ticks, sometimes you see there are extremes because it's just, the orders are just keep coming. So basically the first few minutes is very difficult to get the as far as the market's sense. But usually that's what happens at the opening. Usually you have a high implied volatility. Basically, I haven't checked like every Monday to look at it, but just using as a general rule is because there was just so much going on over the weekend with the overseas. That's why you see it higher as the time goes by. And then when we get to the after the European market closes, like after 8:30, usually you will see the implied volatility slows down. Again, you have to be also understand this is the daily. It's as far as these implied volatilities, they don't move as much as when you come on a minute by minute as it's on the daily. So it doesn't happen like implied volatility goes from 30 all of a sudden to 50. So it's not as important as far as the time goes as the day. So basically, but just a rule of thumb is usually the opening, but then you want to also make sure you're in the right side. So whatever when you're doing your iron condor, but yeah, as I said, if it kind of slows down about 8:30 Pacific Coast time. So
Okay, great.
sure.
Thank you. And my second question was, so I do the Amazon options sometimes. I day trade them, and then the options are very expensive. So I started doing verticals on them, and this is on my paper account. And I wanted to I want to know, do you do the market order for them or the limit order for the verticals?
A good question. That's funny thing. Like Amazon, sometimes they does have some big spreads. So it depends on what time of the day you're doing it. So, but if you're pretty convinced with your basically your strategy, then go ahead. But I usually do the mid ask, and I wait a few minutes to see if it gets filled. The problem again with iron condor is you just have so many legs. Sometimes that's why I just use the mid ask. And if you're really convinced, then you can adjust it. Get closer to the ask side. See if you get filled. So I normally don't like to do the market except on the SPY. If I do SPX or SPY or even QQ, but mostly SPY, I'm in. I'm just gonna go in and just do it. So at the market.
Okay, thank you.
Any other question, Lucas?
Nope, that's it for now.
I haven't heard from Martin, so.
I mean, I did have one question. So I've been doing a lot of reading on spreads, and a lot of what I read, a lot of people concur on the fact that, like, just like you said, you want to be 35 to 60 days out, but a lot of them say, like, you want to close your trade out 21 days before expiration, whether you've they say you should trade it out if you've made 50% or 21 days out, because once you've reached 21 days out and it's not moved in your favor, it's the downside risk is too great. So you should just either get out for nothing and live to fight again, or just do another trade, because waiting that 21 days is probably not a good use of your capital.
Right. So I think there was, I think I gotta go back, but I mean, I let you, I did mention that's like the 3 weeks. One of the things I mentioned though, but if you are, let's say, especially with debit, if you are in a debit side and you pass that 21 days, and now you're close to 1 week or so, and you've lost a lot of it, then I wouldn't, that's why I mentioned, I would just stick with it. It's a debit. You already know how much you've lost, and it's kind of but yeah, so after 21 days, basically, again, depending on the strategy you're implementing, usually the meat of it happens within in the 45 to the 30 days. And the 30-day gradually goes down. So I agree with that, Martin.
Thanks,
But
Rami.
again, with the debit, I will have more of a leeway. And one thing I have to mention, again, I was going to do a class, but since we're talking, if something goes against you immediately and you're losing, then I wouldn't let more than 50%. That's my rule. And then I just fight another day. And but if it is, and also if it's a good profit, I'll just take it. But like you said, after 21 days or, 3 weeks left, then I'm very cautious of what you're doing, unless you're doing the weekly. So it all depends. But the best trades are usually 45 days. 60 to 45 days are very good for spreads because you get best of two worlds. So yeah. Martin, any ideas? What are your thoughts about like having a little booklet or something
Oh,
like that?
I concur with everybody, Ramin. The having everything bullet pointed. I'm a bullet point person. If you ever sat in one of my classes, it's all bullet points.
Right. Okay. Yeah, I'm that way. I love reading, but I'm impatient, and I think with our group, we are in a situation that most of us, that since especially this was meant to be for people actually doing it, so it's very helpful to I think having a bullet points. That's me. I don't like to. If you can just give it to me in 1 minute, let's just do it. I don't want to wait for an hour of presentation, and I'm not going to write a book about it as far as the origins of how the options were made. So I appreciate that. Okay, I'm glad. All right. Sorry again. This was supposed to be. It was a false advertising again. It was supposed to be 30 minutes, but one of these days, I'm gonna put it on the fast forward. So I really appreciate everyone. Thank you so much. Look forward to see everyone on Saturday, and hopefully all have a wonderful rest of the week. Profitable, prosperous, healthy, and I'll see everyone on Saturday. Thank you so much.
Thank you so
Bye.
much, Ramin.
Thanks, Ramin.
Talk to you.
Of course. Thank you very much.
By the way, Ramin, in the YouTube, if you play twice at the speed, you can finish in 30 minutes.
Yes, actually, when I watch myself, I put it on triple speed. So I'm like, how can it go on that long? So thank you, Deshaun. I recommend that.
I was just kidding. I think I don't want to miss every sentence you said.
Oh, well, okay, thank you. But I think 1.5 speed is just perfect. If you can do it, 1.5 is good. So,
Yeah, cool.
thanks.
Bye.
Bye. Bye. Bye.